Romaine with Cheerful Greetings, and today we're going to make an elegant Christmas card. Now you can make elegant Christmas cards in mass production if you organize your items, and hopefully that's what I have done today to show you how you could make this particular card as a mass production type of process. I'm going to show you a couple of different variations at the end of the tutorial, so please go all the way through to the end. Please excuse my right hand. I've got it bandaged because I guess I was out in the sun too much when I was younger, and I have had some cancer removed. So hopefully it will not distract from the tutorial. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is you're going to make duplicates. I have my 6x6 card. Now I'm making 6x6, but I'm also going to show you some 5.5 by 4.25 cards at the end also. I have a group of cards that were cut from a 12 by 12, cut in half, and then folded, and it made 6x6 cards. I have a couple of cards, stock pieces here, that are larger than the next layer, but smaller than the card. And I want to show you that here. I've already put one on. And it happens that I have a die cut that does scallops. And so that's what I've used here, is a scalloped piece. Now I've already glued this piece on. And what we are doing is layers. Now the next layer down is smaller again, and it goes in the middle. But I want to do something different with this. After I cut this with the die cut, and I have my scallops all the way around the edge, I take my die and I cut out my Christmas tree. And this is the die I used. It's the larger of 3 that come in a set. And so I end up with these extra pieces of tree, and I'll show you what to do with them in a few minutes. Okay, we have this tree cut out of our cardstock, and this is going to go on top of here. But I don't want this hole like this with just a plain tree. I want to do something with it. And so what I'm going to do here is take a piece of cardstock. This is approximately 2.5 by 4. It depends on the size of the item you're doing. Whether it's a tree, you have to, kind of measure around it and make sure it's going to cover the tree. Now, I want my tree to look a little unusual. I don't want it to be plain. So what I'm doing here is using my crinkle tool. I'm going to switch hands. I'm going to put it in here, and I'm going to close it tightly so it will make some nice crinkles. And I turn it like this, and I end up with a crinkled piece of paper. Now I'm going to set my card to the side for a minute. And I'm going to put this underneath my tree. And this is what my tree is going to look like. It's going to have the crinkled piece of paper. But I want to turn it to the back side. And I want to get an idea of where to put it. So I'm just going to do like this and get it set approximately where I want it. Okay. I see where it's going to go. Now I take my glue, and I don't worry about gluing the whole card. I would just want to glue that one area. So what I'm going to do is glue around my tree. I'll put glue around it. I don't want it to go over into the hole, so I'm leaving a little space. But if there's a long branch there, I'll go in it a little bit so it'll stick. Okay. Now again, I'm gonna This is the side I like. One side seems to be narrower than the other. I don't know. Maybe it's my imagination. Anyway, I'm going to put this, hopefully, like this. Before it all sticks, I'm going to look at my tree on this side, and I have a ridge that's sticking up, and it's at the top of my tree at the peak, and it comes all the way down to my trunk, if I move it over just a little bit. And that way, your panels won't be crooked. So you want to make sure it goes straight up and down. And then you press it down and make sure it sticks. And this is what we have. No one's going to see this side. Okay, next, we're going to put this on our card. And what I'm going to do now, instead of gluing it, I will use dimensionals so that this layer will pop up from the layer below. Here are my dimensionals. Okay, now we're in business. Now you turn the cardstock over, and you put these. You take the paper off first, and put this fairly near the corner. You don't want them to show. Now, I've got two more here. Now, for all of you who are experienced crafters, you will know this, but this is for the ones who are new. When you have your dimensionals and you've punched out your circles, you still have plenty of dimensional left because you can cut pieces out. And that's what I'm doing here. I want to give my tree a little support. Okay, now that they're all on, you take the top paper off. Came off on its own. Okay, next you want to check your card and make sure it's opening the right way. And then you go on and put your top layer on. Don't mash it down until you see that it's on there like you'd like it. There we go. Now we have a pretty nice card, but it's still not very elegant looking. Okay, so let's see what we can do to it. Let's put some corners on it. I'm going to give you some variations to this card in a few minutes, and also the measurements for a regular 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 card. This is basically a half, excuse me, a half an inch smaller than the layer below it. You want to make sure both sides are the same. So we'll turn this around and put our glue on it. I'm not covering it. I'm just putting a dot here and there on the die cut. Now, I could also send this through a Xyron X, and it'll put some adhesive on it, and you can use that. But this time around, I'm just using my glue and putting just enough on to hold it. So hopefully no one will sit there and try to pick it off. And demolish your card. That's getting fancier. Now, as I was saying at the beginning of this tutorial, you can make this fairly easily as a bulk card by doing the same thing to each one of your cards. In other words, fold your card, add the one layer, fold all the cards, then add the one layer to all your cards, and then die cut the top layer to all your cards, and then cut out your corners for all the cards. There we go. I think I got all the areas. And this is almost finished. Now we need a word, and there's not a whole lot of space. You probably could put Merry Christmas, and especially if you have I know a couple people that do calligraphy that could write Merry Christmas and make it go in there, no matter what size the space is. But I'm afraid I'm not one of those. So, and I have a hole, do not have the hole in my L, so let me punch that out, see if I can get that to come out. There we go. And we have the tree stump, and I'll put the 2 letters on each side of the tree stump down there. Now, if you want your Noel to really show, make a couple of different ones and glue them on top of each other and make the Noel either double or triple deep. So there's our card. Oh, forgot one important thing. A tree has to have a top, and I wanted just a hint of color. And this is my finished card. I still have yet to put a verse or my Merry Christmas inside. I will do that last. But I hope you like that. Now, some variations. Let me show you the other size card first, and then we'll go with the variations. The smaller card is not quite as fancy because there's not as much space. And you have your card that is a 8.5 by 11, cut in half at 5.5, and so you have and folded. You have 5.5 by 4.25. And then I cut one layer, and I made that layer 4 by 5.25. On top of that, the layer that is cut out, and by the way, this layer I did not put on dimensionals. And you can see, you know, the difference with it sticking up like that. This one is 3 3/4 by 5, your top layer. And if you want to pop it up, you could. This has the crinkled center also. Now let's look at our tree a minute. I want to show you a couple possibilities. Now, these are in different stages because I wanted to show you the different stages, but at the same time, I wanted to show you the variations. I only have a couple here, but I'll go back and start with layering them all in the same time and then doing the cutout at the same time. Here's one that's cut out with silver. I think that looks nice with the bow. Let's see, I have one here that's cut out. And here's what it would look like with the gold. I think that looks nice. Also, this paper, it's not really cardstock. I'm not sure what it is. It's got a shiny back, slick, but it will crinkle. This one has a slight crinkle to it, but this one I bear down on the handles of my crimpler here. I bear down so they'd be real tight, and I got a better piece of paper here that you can see the lines better. And that would look nice too, like this. Okay, one more idea. You can take your second piece, you can take your second piece and put it like this on your card. Say that we don't have that. And for your tree, you could put it on like this. And again, you could pop it up. I've got one here that has some dimensionals on it. Let me see. Well, it's stuck to everything. Hold on. Okay. I think I've got all my little. Okay. Here's one. I'm rearranging the dimensional behind it. My tree. There we go. My bow wants to. Now, we could do this. Let me get rid of this so I can see what I'm doing. On this one, we're going to put our tree on here and have it popped up too. Just like that. And that would go on your card. This one's just a one-dimensional got underneath the other one. That's what sticking up so. There we go. Also, I put some stickles on this, which I think makes it look nice. And this one doesn't have to stick up. It can just be flat. So I've given you some ideas. Some people like the idea of, I taught this with my card group, and some of them like the idea of putting the gold paper down like this and then putting a tree on top of it. Gives you another idea. But I do like the stickles on it. I think that helps the little tree. Okay, I hope you enjoyed it. Oh, going back, one more thing. Going back to the little one. You noticed I put a ribbon at the bottom. I haven't decided if I really like the ribbon or not. But that was to give a little more color to this one, since it wasn't very fancy. Now, if you had a scalloped ribbon, I think that would look nicer. Or even a thinner ribbon would look nicer. But in any case, and so here are my Christmas cards for this year. I hope you like them. I hope you enjoyed the tutorial. And if you will, have a very Merry Christmas. Bye.